Hello, everybody. What is up? And welcome to the LCS Fanboy Cast. I am your host, Death Life, here today, and we have the co-host, See the Dark. How you doing?
It's Aaron. Yeah, but I'm doing great. And the LCS has been so crazy this week.
Yep. So, today this is the first episode. Basically, this is going to be a weekly podcast, not on a specific day yet, but a weekly podcast where we just go through and talk about what has happened in the LCS and all of that good stuff. So, welcome, sit back and enjoy all that good stuff. We hope you guys like it. And yeah, the first game we're going to talk about is the NA Spring Finals. We had Cloud9 versus TSM, same as last summer, but a completely different turnaround. Instead of a 5-game series, we had a 4-game series that TSM pretty much dominated. We will go through each game, kind of talk about picks and bans, what we thought maybe went wrong in the game, stuff like that. So, game 1, TSM went ahead and banned Rumble from high. Yes, Rumble mid lane. No, from Balls, who we've seen Balls do great things on Rumble, so that was a pretty good pick. The Vladimir, which I'm not really sure about. I think Balls have maybe played it a couple times, but I don't think he's
Yeah,
actually.
he played it at one time in the 3 or 4 games.
I don't think.
It's not bad. It wasn't really bad worthy. They were just scared of how he played it. It would be a great flex pick, and they
Yeah.
try to counter it. They just switch it up on them.
Yeah. And then Nautilus. C9 went ahead and banned Thresh, Janna, and Hecarim. They really targeted Lustboy in a lot of these bans. I think they know Lustboy is a big part of bot lane and what makes Wild Turtle so great this season. And he is a much better support than Lemon. Lemon has a lot of knowledge overall, but I think Lustboy just performs a lot better than he does. So yeah, game 1, C9 won. TSM looked pretty shaky. Dyrus went ahead and picked up Lulu, went 0-2-3. San Antorin played Gargus 0-2-3. Bjergsen played Ari 1-2-3. Turtle played Jinx 3-3-0, and Lustboy played Nami 0-2-4. While on C9, Balls played Maokai 2-1-8. Meteos played Sejuani 0-0-9. High played Urgot 3-2-4. Sneaky played Sivir 5-0-5. Elimination played Braum 1-1-9. It was overall just not that great of a game for TSM. They looked a little shaky. Sneaky completely dominated that game. The Sejuani was a big pick. Travis did an interview with Meteos and said, Sejuani just has overall better presence in team fights than Gargus does. Don't get me wrong, Gargus's ult is nice in team fights, but I think Sejuani just has more of a presence in a team
Yeah,
fight
yeah.
because that ulti will completely fuck you, and then you add in the Maokai and the kiting from Sivir and a Braum ult, and Urgot's just immobilization to a picked target. Yeah, it just was pretty sloppy all around from TSM. San Antorin didn't play that great on Gargus. On Gargus. Dyrus didn't do that great on Lulu. It was just not the greatest game. Game 2, we had C9 banning Thresh, Janna, and Urgot, and TSM banning Rumble, Hecarim, Nautilus. This was a win for TSM. These next 3 games were wins for TSM. C9 Balls played Maokai, didn't do nearly as well as he did this time as he did last game. 2-6-4. Meteos played Gargus 1-2-4. High played Corki 3-3-1. Sneaky played Lucian 1-2-3. And Lemon played Morgana, went 0-4-4. Dyrus played Sion, who has been
Really one of his good picks.
That's been one of his best champions all season. People say he was one of the reasons TSM won the game. They were getting dominated by CLG, was just because he was able to protect Bjergsen so well. 0-2-9 on Sion. Sanatorin got the Sejuani this time, 1-2-11. Not as good as Meteos. Meteos had in game one had
A
a 5-man
beautiful
ulti.
5-man ulti.
Yeah, which completely fucked TSM. Sanatorin didn't have one. He did, I believe, have a 4-man ulti and a couple 3-mans, but he still did pretty well and was a big factor in the win. Bjergersen played Kog'Maw mid lane, 9-0-6. Turtle played Callista 6-2-6, and Lustboy played the Kennen support 1-1-9. Something we've seen a lot in China and Korea. As a support main, I have mixed feelings about it. I haven't actually really played with it yet, but I feel like it can work. But it's one of those where you actually really need specific AD carries. Where not saying certain supports don't work better with certain AD carries, like Thresh Lucian. Like Lucian is probably one of Thresh's strongest AD carries. But you can play Thresh with almost any AD carry and do, bot lane things. Yeah. Where Kennen, you kind of need specific AD carries in order to make it work. Callista is one of those because you can just kind of throw Kennen into the middle of a team fight and you build Kennen tanky. His ult and just all the burst he does just kind of fucks people up. Comboed with a Sejuani ult and a Scion ult.
They have so much CC and they learned it perfectly, I think.
Yeah. But Hai actually was doing pretty well against Bjergersen. He was 3-0 at one point, and Bjergersen was a little bit behind. I just feel like because Corki is stronger than Kog'Maw early game, Corki does a lot of burst damage while Kog'Maw doesn't do a whole lot. Corki has a lot easier to hit. His skill shots are pretty easy to hit, so you can just poke, especially when you get your ulti. If you get your ult before Kog'Maw does, you can poke a Kog'Maw out of lane extremely easily. So I think that's why Hai got a slight lead at the beginning, but Bjergersen just being Bjergersen and proving why he's the MVP was able to come back from that. He didn't die or anything, like I said, 9-0-6, but he did get really fed off team fights. And it was mainly I think he was the 3 kills on Hai. Because it was just from him chasing him down with his ulti.
Yeah.
Hai was by far... Go ahead.
He would not give up on Hai. He's like, I want him. I
want that dick.
He made my fucking life a living hell with that fucking poke and laning. I'm getting this fucker.
I'm getting that ass. What was I going to say? Hai was by far the hardest one to lock down, just because he could Valkyrie out of everything. You don't want to abandon your team, but you also don't want to get aced if you can help it. So, he would just, if the fight was going bad, he'd just Valkyrie out and he was gone. So, Game 3, TSM bans Rumble, Vlad, Nautilus, C9 bans Thresh, Janna, Hecarim. I believe, I think C9 banned Janna every match this game, just because, no.
I think that was
actually the last one, the very last game, Game 4, they didn't ban it. But I think they're just really scared of Lustboy's Janna, because he played it a lot when he was part of CJ. And he was one of the first people to kind of prove, him and Madlife, to prove that you can actually be really aggressive with Janna's ult. Because what it does, I'm kind of preaching to the choir here. Most of you have seen Janna, but if you don't know, Janna's ult pushes enemies away in a direction. So say you're standing in front of Janna, it's going to push you back. So if Janna's enemies are behind her, it's going to push them that way. So what Lustboy and Madlife do with Janna is they will flash in front of the enemy team and then ult to push the enemy team into their team. Just to kind of aggressively engage with it. And Lustboy is really, really good at that. So I think they were really scared of his Janna. That's why they ban it almost every game. To be honest, I would have taken out the Thresh and started banning Kennen because he was doing really well on it.
They didn't think about that. They just wanted okay, we don't want to play Janna, we don't want him to play Thresh, but he's a good Thresh, but he's not He's not god tier. Like I would ban Bunny Fufu's Thresh over his Thresh.
Yeah. But yeah, game 3, Dyrus picked up Maokai, 3-1 and 14. San Antorian got Sejuani, 1-0 and 14. Bjergerson played the God mid lane, 508. Turtle got Corki, 8-2 and 5. And Lustboy played Kennen, 3-1 and 10 on Cloud9's side. Balls got Scion,
Uh,
didn't do well at all.
that's not his
Oh
play
7 and
style.
3.
I think he should have leaned on the. I think it was Bannon. I don't know, but it was he should lean on the Hecarim or the
Yeah.
Rumble. He didn't even think about Rumble. He's a fantastic Rumble.
That was the problem, is TSM kept banning Rumble.
I thought they left him open one game. He just didn't play it. No,
Uh-uh.
no, no. But still, like he had all these.
They ban
picks.
him every game, and then 2 games, game 1 and game 3, C9 actually banned out Hecarim.
Yeah. They he's a really good Hecarim, and they ban that against himself because I don't think Dyrus is a great Hecarim.
I don't think Dyrus would have played Hecarim. Dyrus likes
Yeah.
to play tanky top laners.
And Maokai is just this big fucking tree, and I don't think that's Balls' playstyle. Like he's good on him, yeah, but Balls is like he likes to carry, and they didn't let him do that with what he picked.
This meta doesn't suit Balls' playstyle, and I think that's why he's fallen off a little bit. It's because Balls likes the playstyle where it was like Ryze, Nidalee, Lissandra. That's his top lane playstyle.
Yeah, and then
that's why he's undefeated on Ryze in the LCS, is because that's his playstyle.
him and Cali Trolls are carry top laners, and the meta right now just doesn't allow you to do that and be a top laner. It's like you can be a top laner, but it's just weird with the meta now.
Yeah. Meteos played Gargus 1-3 and 3. High played Lulu 0-5 and 2. Sneaky played Sivir 3-2 and 1. And Elimination played Braum 0-3 and 2. The first thing, the Gargus and Sejuani, like we said, they did an interview with Meteos. It's just not the greatest pick. And Meteos was doing it to himself. Like, I think they kept wanting Meteos to play Gargus to prove that he could beat Sejuani, but it just doesn't work if you don't get someone fed. Like, I don't understand why they'd keep... If Sanatorin picks Sejuani, you shouldn't pick Gargus. You've got other junglers available. But, high on Lulu. We've seen High play Lulu last split. He was never that great at it. I just don't think it's his style.
It's not.
He, what C9 did, it makes me feel like they watched SKT's game against GE, where Faker played Lulu mid lane, and they had a Sivir bot lane. Granted, Bang got pretty fed before laning was over. Faker was able to increase that with Lulu's peel and just overall utility, because what you've got is now you can build full AP, so you do damage, and then you've got the peel and the utility for your AD carry, so it's pretty much like having 2 supports, but one does a lot of fucking damage, because Lulu does. Like, you build full AP Lulu, she hits like a fucking truck.
Yeah, you stole my penta on her, remember?
I know. She hits like a truck, dude. But the problem was, and Meteos even said this, every time they had a 2v1, every time they would lane swap, Dyrus would hold off Sneaky and Lemon better than Balls was holding off Turtle and Lustboy. Like, Turtle would walk into lane with not a giant, but a pretty decent CS lead on Sneaky, and he would be able to just poke Sneaky out and deny him CS even more. And so Sneaky was so far behind, he was trying to get kills, and you could see him overextending a little bit because he needed to try to catch up to Turtle somehow. Like, he needed to catch up to Turtle somehow, and it was getting him caught out, and it was just sloppy because he kept getting behind. C9 is one of the teams that doesn't like to do rotations. They would rather just go the 2v2 bot lane like normal, because Dyrus is actually really good at stopping that. He's probably one of the best top laners.
Yeah,
in
that
NA
was
at
a
stopping
big
that.
problem. That was a deciding factor in the top lane, is that how they played Sivir, and Sivir's so good at denying farm when she gets like the level 3, and yet
Yeah.
they couldn't do anything to stop him, and he came in a lane with more XP and farm than balls, and it wasn't good for them. And
Yeah.
while Callista and Kennen denied him so much farm.
Yeah. Well, even in game 3 on Corki, it's like Corki was almost like I think either level 6 or almost level 6 by the time the lane swap was over, and so you can just poke a Sivir out of lane. Like it's so easy to poke like champions out of lane with Corki because he does so much AP damage and he does so much early on damage. Um, and then you add a Kinnan into that. It's just so much poke damage that you can't stay in lane very long. You lose out on more experience, you lose levels, and then you're just behind for the rest of the game. And then if you're not performing well, Hai wasn't performing well, so you've got an underfed Lulu, and your whole plan just blows up in your face because you can't do your damage with Lulu, and you don't have the utility to do anything for your AD carry because they're underfed, and so the whole plan is just ruined by then. So it's really, really dependent on Sivir getting fed or you just being a really good Lulu and getting fed, like solo killing people. But I really don't think that was C9's plan going in. I don't think they thought Hai was going to get like super fed or solo kill Bjergsen or anything. I think they thought that Sneaky had a better chance at getting fed, and then they could, Hai and Lemon could escalate that.
Yeah.
Because Sneaky, if he's fed and his team sets him up right, Sneaky can carry.
Yeah, definitely.
But it just wasn't. The 2v1 just completely fucked him over. Turtle came into lane with a lead, and Sneaky just couldn't catch up to that. Like I said, Turtle ended 8-2 and 5 on Corki. That's a lot of poke damage coming out. They had a really, really pokey comp.
Yeah, they had
C9
a lot of
did.
siege, great siege, but they just didn't.
Well, yeah.
They never had time to
TSM
siege though.
Yeah. Yeah. Game 3, pretty much a stomp. Game 4 was kind of the nail in the coffin. C9 bans Thresh, Urgot, and Gragas, and TSM bans Rumble, Hecarim, and Sejuani. The one game we don't see Gragas and Sejuani. C9 picks up Vladimir in the top lane for balls, 1, 2, and 4. Meteos picks up Zac, 0, 2, and 6. Hai picks up Zed, which was very questionable, 2, 5, and 1. Sneaky plays Sivir again, 2, 2, and 3. And Lemon plays Nautilus, 1, 3, and 5. TSM, Dyrus picks up Maokai, 2, 1, and 8. San Antorin picks up Vi, 1, 0, and 10. Bjergsen plays Cho'Gath, 5, 2, and 3. Turtle plays Callista, 6, 1, and 2. Lustboy plays Kennen, 0, 2, and 9. This was the game that they didn't ban Janna, but Lustboy had been performing so well on Kennen, I don't think he really even cared. I think he planned on picking Kennen even if Janna was available.
Yeah.
It's kind of the saying,
Just
if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah.
He
played it so well.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Okay, I see. They first picked Vi. So that was Meteos was left with Zac. I honestly think when they banded Gragas, C9 was kind of hoping that Meteos could get on Vi because he has played Vi several times this split and has done really, really well on her. She is a carry. She can be a carry jungler, and that's what Meteos performs really well on. So I think they were kind of hoping that they could get a hold of Vi, but he did pull out Zac, who was one of his favorite picks back when C9 first entered the LCS, and he has been playing her a lot in solo queue, but
it just didn't click with the team comp anyway.
Balls got destroyed.
Like there wasn't much AoE on that team besides Vladimir. I'm like, Zed is gonna just go in, burst somebody in the back line. Yeah. And that's the thing. They relied on Zed just going back in the back line and bursting Callisto, which was a big source of damage. And then it's not like Hai could have got a solo kill in lane because fucking Bjergsen is so tanky. That's why I love playing like really tanky mid laners into a Zed or an assassin. I play Gragas into Zed all the time. and it's just you don't lose very well because you're just so tanky. They do no damage early on, and then you just like Gragas. I don't know what like he could have played it, but to be honest, it wouldn't have helped. Kalista could have just came back in as soon as possible. Cannon just put an ulti back in, and then the point and click CC from Maokai is just fucking unbeatable. And then Vi just has so much initiation. If she's an ult in, she's ulting in. Like she.
Yeah. That's kind of a counter to Sivir. Like, even if Sneaky was semi-fed, if he tries to ult away, Vi can knock him up with her ult, and that's enough time for a Cho'Gath knock up, and by that time, Kalista and Kennen are going to be on your ass, so there's not very much escape. So, I don't know. I think they just tried to go for something kind of damage heavy and burst heavy, and it just didn't really work out. Bjergerson knows Zed so well. That's probably, if not his best champion, one of his best champions. And so he knows Zed inside and out. So it just wasn't a good pickup against him. I'm not saying you can't play someone.
Yeah.
Like, people have played Zed against Faker before. They don't care. And
Ask Ryu.
People have done all right against Faker with Zed. But it's just not a good idea when somebody mains a champion to pride pick that champion. Like, High has done it almost every single last game that they play TSM. Game 5, I'm pretty sure, Game 5 last split, he played Zed.
Yeah.
It's like he's pride picking him to try to prove he's the better Zed. And it's just, I don't want to say High is a support mid laner, because he's not. But he's not a very big kill mid laner either. I think the only thing that saves High and makes him one of the best, or a top contender for one of the best mid laners in NA, is because he's a god shot caller.
Yeah, his shot calling's phenomenal. It's just like, ever since, I don't know, since the lung problem, like, he just hasn't been the same. It's just...
Yeah. Well, I think he can't practice as much. I know that. He can't practice as much as he used to. And I think he's pretty much almost done with the game. It's kind of sad to say because we'll go ahead and close this out. Match 4, winner TSM. They are the spring split NA champions, so congratulations to them. Congratulations to San Antonio, Bjergerson, and Loco for winning MVP, Rookie of the Year, and Coach of the Year. Loco really deserves it. He's completely changed that team. Bringing him in the middle of last year is exactly what TSM needed. And then switching out Glebe for Lustboy is the best thing TSM has ever done. It took them from a top 2 contender to being able to win the summer and spring split against a team that had caused them a lot of problems in C9. So, props to Loco and Lustboy. But yeah, before we go on with the EU finals, Travis did was talking about the future of High, and High pretty much saying that he wasn't sure if he was going to be, the mid laner for C9 next year. Now, people don't know exactly what that means, if he's going to step into an analyst role or a coaching role. Some people are saying Lemon wants to step down and become a coach. Honestly, either one of those two, if I know you can have more than one coach. I know you can't have more than one main coach, but I know, like, Odd One for TSM is considered like a coach, kind of. He coaches San Antonio, so you can have, like, a player coach. I know that. I would honestly like to see probably High be the main coach, just because he's got all that great shot calling knowledge, and he just has a lot of overall knowledge about the game. Not saying that Lemon doesn't, but I think he would just be better as like a side coach. I think he would be the guy that people could kind of come to talk to, like, about any problems, or, I mean, don't get me wrong, Lemon's a great support. I think he could coach somebody into being a really good support.
It's just like some things, like, I don't know, like, sometimes he makes these most stupidest decisions when he's playing that really makes me mad. Is one time they were in mid lane, and he got completely caught out for no reason. Like, he shouldn't even have been in mid lane. They were still laning. Sneaky was down there in a 2v1 while he was roaming completely mid lane just to poke down the enemy mid laner. Yeah. And he got caught out, and it was like the most, I think it was against Team Liquid. He got caught out for no reason. Like, he should have never even got caught out. which is the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but the question people have been asking is if High steps down, who's going to replace him? Incarnation has been a big name thrown around. People are talking about NA is the front runner for him right now. CLG and C9 have both made offers to him. Honestly, even though C9 has the better history and probably has the better players overall, um, I could see him going to CLG just because I think that team would be a lot better without Link. Um, I think the reason TSM was able to slide by so much when Glebe was the way he was, when he would just get super nervous on the LCS stage, was because not saying a support's not important, but Turtle could kind of carry him out of that. You can't have a mid laner that's super nervous to play against people because mid is the I think mid is the most important role in the game. You can control almost every other lane. You can carry. You roam. It's the most important game. Blah, blah, blah. It's the most important role in my opinion. Um, you can't have your mid laner openly willing to admit that he's scared to play against High, Bjergerson, big names like that, because as bad as it sounds, that they will get into your head about that. They will do things to try to fake you out because they know you're scared of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a great thing to do, but I mean, you're in the LCS to win. You're not here to make friends. So I think Link has been given enough chances. I think it's time for them to try to find. I think this was his last chance. In Hotshot's interview, he was kind of leaning towards that. This was probably his last chance to kind of prove. He did have some really good games during the split, but when it came down to it against TSM and in their series against Liquid, he got soloed by Phoenix a couple times. And don't get me wrong, Phoenix is a good mid laner, but he should have the experience. Link should have the experience on that to not get soloed by someone like him. So I think I could see Incarnation going to CLG. I think Voyboy could be a possible option for C9.
Yeah. Or CLA.
He does want to, yeah. He does want to play for the summer split. He has said that. And I honestly don't see Liquid picking him up. I think they want to stick with Phoenix. So I can see, I don't think he would want to go to a challenger team. I think if he comes back, he'll want to come back in the LCS. And right now, there's not a whole lot of people looking for new mid laners. So I can see C9 being a possible option for that. Unless they just want to pick up somebody off the challenger list. Or out of the challenger series. There's some good mid laners that are in the challenger series. So, but yeah, moving on from that, it would be sad to see High retire and move to a coaching role, but I think he'd be really good at it.
Yeah, he just understands the game so well. That's why Loco Doco's such a good coach, is because he's played professionally, and that's what.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, the Europe LCS finals. We have me and Aaron's team, Fnatic versus Unicorns of Love. So this was kind of a split for me. I wasn't sure if Fnatic was going to win. I actually kind of would have, as weird as it sounds, because on paper, SK looks like the stronger team. Forgiven, in my mind, is one of the strongest AD carries right now. He performed so well at the beginning of the split and even towards the end. He kind of had the same problem Reckless did, where his team kind of got in a bad situation. I don't know what's wrong with their top laner. Their top laner, just every time I see him, he reminds me of, like, Dyrus when he's having a bad game. He just gets caught out and fucked constantly. I think it's called like Freddy or something like. I think his name's like
Freddie.
Freddy or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's not that great. He's really not. Um, I mean I know everybody's in the LCS for a reason, but he's just not that great of a top laner in my opinion. Every time I watch him, he's getting caught out. Um, but I will say, game one, Fnatic banned Cassie, Morg, Annie. We did see in the game a couple weeks ago the repeat of the Nexus would never die. Power of Evil.
no,
Too soon?
no expect a backdoor.
No, expect a backdoor. Too soon? Fucking Worlds from last year. One hit away from beating fucking, I think it was like, I don't remember who it was. It was like White Najin, I think. Um, but yeah, we saw Power of Evil on Cassie in that game a couple weeks ago, and he did phenomenal. Just the amount of burst that Cassie allows, they wanted to keep Power of Evil off of that. Unicorns of Love took Ban Zed, LeBlanc, and Hecarim. We'll get into the Zed and LeBlanc bans here in a minute. Fnatic, Huni played Vladimir 4-6 and 1. Rainover played Rek'Sai 2-3 and 5. Forbidden played Cassadin 1-2 and 1. Steel Black played Callista 0-2 and 4, and Yellow Star played Thresh 0-1 and 7. Unicorns of Love picked up Maokai top lane 2-2-9. Gragas jungle 0-0-9. Varus mid lane 5-1 and 7. Sivir 80 carry 7-1 and 3, and the Braum Spore 0-3 and 13. Before I dive into this game, I do want to say that the reason this series was 5 games, I think, is because Forbidden was forced to play things he's not used to. I think more than half of his games this year, he's played either Zed or LeBlanc. He hasn't had a team ban both of them against him. I think H2K did that last week as well, and that's why that game series lasted so long. Is he can play several champions, he just can't play them to the carry level that he can on Zed and LeBlanc.
He did show promise in Ari though.
Yeah. Rainover played Rek'Sai, who hasn't had the greatest record with this year. Callista picked up Steelback. Yes. Steelback picked up Callista, who I don't know if I've seen Steelback play Callista this year. I think I've seen him play her in solo queue, and I wasn't the biggest fan. Fnatic isn't a big fan of the Runaan's Hurricane Rush, or the other one I've seen is a Bloodthirster Rush. They actually like to rush Blade of the Rune King. I see that rushed a lot if you're behind as Callisto, which he was, but he actually likes to rush that no matter what. And so, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that on Callista. I honestly think if you're ahead, the Runaan's Hurricane is a great idea because it gives you so much attack speed and your arrows, spears, whatever, proc on multiple targets.
Yeah.
So,
I
that's what gives you all the damage in team fights.
I love the Runaan's Rush, but that's just me.
Yeah. But yeah, just a really sloppy game by Fnatic. All of these games were really sloppy. It was kind of boring, kind of just bland series to watch because it was just a lot of sloppiness. It was honestly kind of like watching a Challenger Series game because it was just like run at each other and see who dies first.
Yeah, I mean, in some spots there should have been more vision, and then and then none of them played a really great game of denying vision.
Yeah,
it was a big.
Yeah. You do really see the rookiness in this series, though. Yellowstar is really the only veteran. I mean, I think Rainover played a little bit in Korea, but not very much. Unicorns of Love is a challenger team that just made it this year, and, you know, all of Fnatic except Yellowstar and like a year for Rainover are rookies. So you really see a lot of the rookie mistakes in this series. Game 2 went to Fnatic. All the same bands. Unicorns of Love picked up Cyan top lane 2-6 and 4. Gragas jungle again 0-6 and 6. Ziggs mid lane 2-5 and 3. Jinx 80 carry 4-6 and 3, and the Thresh support 0-6 and 7. while Huni picked up Rumble top lane, 8-3-10. Rainover played Rek'Sai again and did surprisingly well, 8-2-14. Fabivin picked up Twisted Fate, 1-2-12. Steelback went 10-0-9 on Sivir, and Yellowstar playing one of his favorite supports and probably one of his best supports, Nautilus, 1-1-18. This was a lot more of the Fnatic that they're known for, the whole super aggressive Yellowstar roams, just Rainover doing his thing in the jungle. Rainover is probably one of the best junglers in EU in my opinion. Shook took a little bit of a dive this year, and so I think Rainover really stepped it up. The whole Fnatic team is really surprising, to be honest, because it's 4 rookies and Yellowstar. And everybody thought that this was going to be, the rebuilding phase for Fnatic. They're going to take a dip. They lost Expeke, they lost Reckless, they lost everybody except Yellowstar. And Cyanide and Expeke were the big hit from that because they've been with the organization forever. But it proves that sometimes you can mesh people well together. Huni and Rainover mesh really well together. That I think they have some of the best jungle and top synergy that I've seen in a long time. It's not too often that you can see almost every time a jungler gank a top lane, they either get them very close to death or do get a kill. But Rainover and Huni seem to do that.
Yeah, they just have so much energy because they're Korean. They have a lead, they have a bond above the other teammates.
Yeah,
and I just don't play
they can communicate. Well, they can communicate really well too, and I think Huni doesn't feel as nervous when it's just Rainover talking to him because Rainover's the only one that speaks Korean. They speak Korean to each other when they're just ganking. When Rainover's just ganking Huni's lane, he'll speak Korean to him, and I think it makes Huni feel more comfortable, just because he's like, okay, now I don't have to feel so much pressure that if I fuck up, maybe they won't know what the fuck we said.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought we were talking about ice cream. I don't know. What flavor ice cream do you like?
In the middle of a game, just start talking shit about the teammates. Why you always gotta feed? Wait, Yellowstar is he's Chinese, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think he speaks another language though. I think he's lived in Europe his whole life.
He was with the Incredible Miracles second team, and then I think that's why he came over here is because they disbanded the you can have only a sister team.
Yeah. I'm just gonna run through these real quick because I don't feel like getting really into the series. Game 3 went to Fnatic. I will run through the scores. Huni Hecarim 5-4-21. Gragas jungle 8-3-22. Ari mid lane. Fabivin played amazing on Ari 11-2-13. Lucian 11-3-14 and Nautilus 4-2-20. Now for Unicorns of Love we have the Aurelia top lane 4-10-6. Udyr jungle 4-7-10. Syndra mid lane 2-8-7. Sivir 80 carry 4-6-6 and Thresh support 1-8-9. I do want to get into this one a little bit because I don't think the Syndra pick was smart. Give or take, I think Syndra was picking first. But it's pretty easy to counter Syndra now because that early game nerf hit her pretty hard. She was one of Bjergsen's favorite champions last split, and he hasn't really touched her this split because she doesn't really do any damage early, and that's what got her fed. Because that's why I understand why they nerfed her. Because she had a really strong early game, took a little bit of a dip mid game, and then picked it back up late game. So you could get super fed early game, still be a bitch mid game, and then be even more of a bitch late game. So, I mean, she needed it, but, I mean, they just completely removed her early game to where it's harder to get fed. And that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to make it hard to get fed on her, so you can't just be a monster the entire game. But it really did hurt her, and there's just the mid lane meta, it's hard to get fed on her now. And Fabivin played the Ari perfectly. He landed the perfect charms, and I don't think Power of Evil... I think that was the one pick Power of Evil didn't want him to pick was Ari, was because before Ari and Syndra could pretty go even in lane, but now with the damage nerf to Syndra, Ari
And
wins
plus
that
the
matchup
mobility from Ari's
pretty
Q
hard.
now is just it's insane. Like Ari's not gonna chunky as hard
Yeah.
as she used to, but she's gonna like she's so mobile, and then later on in the game, you're not even gonna notice that she was nerfed. Like her 30% damage increase when you charm them. You're not
Right.
gonna notice it after a certain point in the game.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Game 4, the winner was Unicorn of Love. And Game 5, the winner was Fnatic. Yay, I'm really glad Fnatic won, but like I said, it was kind of a sloppy series, but I am glad they won. One thing I want to touch on is Huni's Rumble. The 2 times he played it were 2 wins for Fnatic. I do think Huni is the best Rumble in EU. I don't think he's one of the best in the world. But he is definitely the best in EU. He does have a really, really great Rumble. But it was just a lot of Baron throws, a lot of Dragon throws. Game 5 had a really big Dragon throw where Unicorns of Love was behind, but not too bad. And then I think they ended up getting ace to try to stop Fnatic from taking a Dragon. And even Monte Cristo, who watches all the games, was talking about it. I mean, the comments on Reddit are, like Monte Cristo will be pissed off seeing a late game comp Force Dragon. He always gets super pissed when that happens. Like, you're in the LCS, you shouldn't be making mistakes, but you do have to realize these are 2 rookie teams, so, which is even more kind of awkward that there's 2 rookie teams playing in the LCS finals, so, yeah, congratulations to Fnatic. Yellowstar really deserves it. I think he was a little worried about coming into the split after having all of his teammates leave. Next, we've got our predictions, all of our predictions for upcoming games. This Friday at 4 a.m., we've got CJ Entis taking on SK Telecom. CJ Entis looking very strong against Jin Air, 3-0ing them after having a little bit of a struggle with Jin Air in the regular season. So I don't know what happened to Jin Air, but I know Mad Life has stepped it up a lot since IEM. People were kind of shocked that the bot lane won so hard, but you do have to take in fact that Lustboy has played against Mad Life a lot. He was on his sister team. So they know each other very well. But I think Mad Life has stepped up a lot, and maybe that's why they 3-0 Jin Air. SK Telecom is looking like old SKT. Faker doesn't have the problem
Having to carry.
Getting 5-man ganked anymore because none of his lanes are bother or a nuisance. I think I'm going to take SKT in 5 games because I do think this will be a really big test for Bang and Wolf. Space and Mad Life have been playing really, really well. I think they're I think they're definitely top 2. I think them and Bang and Wolf are top 2. I don't know who's better than the other. I think that's what this series is going to decide.
And then Tom has been like a big deciding factor, especially in that GE win.
Yeah. But it will be interesting to see. I think if Bang and Wolf just get an early lead every game, it'll be a 3-0. Because that is CJ Entis' bread and butter. They rely on Mad Life and Space to do well bot lane. I think even if Coco gets soloed by Faker, I think it could be a 3-0. Because Faker will push that lead really hard, and Coco won't know what to do against it.
His roaming is...
Yeah. He'll do Faker things. He will take his 1-kill lead and make it an 8-kill
thing is,
lead.
like, Faker, he doesn't need to be leading on his Lulu when he's not a support mid laner. It's not his play style, and he just it matched well that one game, but that's not his play style. He was completely
I think that's why they did it. Is because it was game 1 against GE. They're the top team in Korea. I think they wanted to throw him off a little bit. I think GE prepared really heavily against Faker, thinking that he was going to be a big factor, and then he pulls out a Lulu, and it's a pretty stalemate mid lane. But you have Bang bot lane getting double kills and coming out of laning phase like 5-0. He had 100% kill participation that game. I think he ended that game like 9-0-18. But it worked. I think SKT didn't plan on Faker having being super fed. I think they planned on what C9 planned when Hyde picked it, and it just worked. Bang got super fed, and then you have the Lulu, and I don't remember
I think he
who
played
Wolf played.
Diana. I don't know. Let me check. I haven't remember watching the game very well.
I'd have to go look at it. I don't remember who they played, but you have whoever Wolf played. And then the Lulu utility and the Lulu burst.
Yeah.
So you can just expand what Sivir already has on GE. So it worked really well for them. And then you get into their head, like, is he going to pull that out again? And then he plays Cassie and gets super fed on Cassie and does, what normal Faker does. And fucking that game 2 was super sloppy. Tom got caught out once, and SKT wasn't doing very well in team fights. And then the one time GE was going to go for Baron, it was either GE. I think SKT might have started the Baron. GE tried to stop it, and then ended up getting aced. And Faker got like a triple kill.
Yeah, Wolf played Janna, was right.
Faker got like a triple kill. So I think Faker's just showing that, yes, he is a former, world champion, and he's the best mid in the world, but he can play a support-style mid lane, and I think that is actually really good for SKT, because it'll get into enemy teams' heads and say, what is he going to play? Is he going to be the super, get fed and just fuck your shit in Faker, or is he going to get Bang fed and then get fed towards the end?
Bang is a good change, because it's like having Piglet back in Season 3, where, early Season 3, Faker had to carry the team. And then in later on, Piglet found his play style and became a carry, so he took a lot of weight off the shoulders of Faker, and so Faker wasn't the lone carry in that team. And that's what helped, and that's what Bang is now. And that's what really helps. So Faker can try out these things, and because he can trust Bang, which is really, and then and even if
I think Wolf is a big improvement too. I don't remember who the support they had last year with Piglet was. I think they had 2 different ones. I know Pooh Mandu retired.
He was in there for about half the
season. And then
he
retired halfway through the split. Okay, and we're back after internet shitting itself or something. I don't know what the fuck happened, but hopefully I can sync this together and make it work. Alright, anyway, where we were at.
SKT. And thing is, I was saying, Bang is an improvement, and it shows that Faker doesn't have to carry the team anymore, which is a big problem last season because he was stressed out, and he had anxiety during games because he knew he had a carry, and that was a big part. That was a big reason why they didn't do that great. And now Marin is a big improvement too from Impact. Marin 5-0-6 on Rumble, and Smeb was easily one of the best top laners in Korea, and Marin said, "No, I can do this." And going 0-2-8, which that's not a good score on it's a good score. It's just it's the thought that counts on it. But Smeb did really good in that game after I think he got a kill bot lane from roaming.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Kuro's Azir just zoned Faker off for the longest time on Cassiopeia. That was not a problem during the second game, which actually Faker got MVP of that game with 800 points. And they closed it out really quickly. Cassiopeia scaled. It was 46 minutes into the game. Bang was not as good as he was last game, but he went 3-1-10 with Faker kind of carrying this, and Tom had an amazing game on Sejuani, 4-1-7.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, he hit so many ultis.
Yep.
like and he showed that like I can play this meta instead of just playing fighters. Like his first game in, he played Udyr, and he did phenomenal. And it's just like he countered jungle so much. It's not even like he's playing a pro match. It's like he's playing a solo queue because he treats it. He counter jungles. He's not scared to do this, and he ends up like 0-1-12 on fucking
Yeah.
Nunu and 4-1-7 on Sejuani. You tell me how that shit
Yeah.
happens.
So like I said, I'm just gonna go 3-2 SKT. Depending on how it plays out, I mean, it could be a 3-0. I do think SKT is gonna win, but I mean, Bang would have to play pretty poorly, and I mean, Coco would really have to show up. But I think if it would be a 3-0 in SKT's favor, I think Faker solos Coco a couple times, or Bang just completely fucks
Yeah,
Space and
it's
Mad
it's
Life.
dependent on how the mid lane goes with who Faker plays.
Yeah,
And they really like Faker. They learned how to play it like counter against his aggressive play style. It's just they don't need to. He doesn't need to be that far up without
all
wards
right.
because they have proved that they will 5-man gank his bitch ass.
All right, so your final prediction.
3-1 or 3-2.
Okay. The next thing I'm going to kind of skim over is LPL Spring Playoffs for third place. Invictus Gaming versus Snake. I don't watch a lot of LPL, so I'm not too interested in that one.
Pumandu is actually the coach of Invictus with a from KT Rolster Bullets, his rookie, and Kakao. And Kakao is from another team in Korea. I can't remember at this point, but KT Rolster Bullets thing rookie.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually known as Faker Jr.
Okay.
And his Azir is amazing. It's just that his team, they're not as well as known as he and Kakao, but they work with it. They have.
Yeah. The EU LCS Summer Promotion Tournament, Giants Gaming versus Reason Gaming. I'm just gonna go with Giants. I've seen a little bit of Reason Gaming. They're all right, but I think Giants will find a way to stay in the LCS. Rocat versus Copenhagen Wolves Academy, the team we saw Origin play. That's not a really fair showing. You've got possibly one of the best mid laners, Expeke, and Amazing, and Soaz, who all have LCS experience.
So do the other two. They're just like
One of them doesn't. The support doesn't.
No, they both do.
No, one of them doesn't.
But Niles and
They said one of them was a challenger player. The other one had LCS experience, and then he got banned for toxicity.
But it says I think he played for Ninjas in Pajamas with Deficio.
Anyway, I think that's the one. Maybe a challenger team could win. I think Copenhagen Wolves could possibly win. I'm not too big into Rocats or Copenhagen. Really, the only time I ever watch the EU LCS is when it's Fnatic. But yeah.
Yeah, Mithy played for Lemon Dogs, which were kind of big back then, and then Ninjas in Pajamas now for Origin, and then Niles. You know who Niles is, right? Yeah.
Then we have the LPL Spring Playoff Finals, Edward Gaming versus LDG Gaming, the two former world champion teammates, Pawn and Imp, playing against each other. That's going to be a really good game. I think it's going to go 5 games, but I'm picking LGD over Edward Gaming. I think Imp is going to get a very big lead bot lane. I really do.
I don't think so. I think Deft is the better mechanical player. It's just dependent. It's more dependent on how the supports go. But Imp is a very good player, even though he's BM as fuck. Little bitch. And EDG, I think Pawn, if he's at the top of his game and like so there's no problems with like his back or anything, then I think he'll either solo or do just fine against because he did just fine against Rookie.
Yeah.
So I think he'll do just fine against their mid laner.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if Imp gets fed, it's hard to deal with that. But it is a death,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they do have that going for them. I don't know. I think it'll
If
be a five
if
game
not the
series.
same, if not same or close to the skill as MPS.
Yeah. What do you think?
Uh, 3-1, 3-2. It's gonna go either that or 3-2 or the 5 game. 3-2 or 5 game.
Okay. Um,
EDG's favor though.
see if I can actually get this fucking web page to load. I actually remember them, I think, off the top of my head. The NA finals, I believe, maybe. I'm hoping I'm not forgetting anything. Um, fuck. Yes, the NA Challenger Series finals. We have Team Dignitas playing against Fusion and Winter Fox playing against TDK. Um, I would like to see Fusion make the LCS, but I really wish they were playing Winter Fox because Winter Fox, while they have been around for a while, they did rebrand and lost most of their players. I do really like Pull Belter, but um, if one of the teams had to leave, I'd rather see Winter Fox leave just because Dignitas has that really long stint in the LCS. And it's sad to see, like, they've never been really big on the charts. They
They always
always
had that
do
like
really
that
well,
one in the beginning of the
fuck
season.
themselves at the end of the season, and then fuck themselves in playoffs. Like, they've done
And
that.
then
They had Zion, Scara, I'm a Cutie Pie, Kiwi Kid, and Crumbs. And they did really well at the beginning of the season, and then choked. And then Shifter came in. They did really well with Shifter. Shifter was a very good mid laner, and choked again. They do it every year. I'm hoping they don't have the drive taking out of them after probably having their worst year in the LCS this year. Um, while I would be kind of glad to see Fusion make the LCS, it'd be kind of sad to see Dignitas leave because I don't think Shifter deserves to be in Challenger Series again. Um,
Yeah, he proved himself.
that's another thing that could possibly happen if Dignitas did lose. I can see Shifter leaving and maybe going to like CLG or Cloud9. Um,
Yeah, if they do decide to get a new mid
yeah,
laner,
I
he
could see
probably will.
Shifter maybe leaving if he had to go back to Challenger. I don't think he would want to.
Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't need to.
Yeah. And then Winter Fox, I'm gonna guess Dignitas 3-1 or 3-2. I don't think
Yeah,
it'll be a.
three,
I
three,
don't think
two.
it'll be a 3-0.
No.
And then Winter Fox versus TDK. I think this is the more realistic one. I think Winter Fox could possibly lose. Seraph has been actually playing really, really well since he left CLG and doesn't have a jungler that hates his fucking guts. um, I'm going to make a fucking
5 game
weird
prediction.
prediction. I'm gonna go 3-2 TDK.
3-2
Yep.
TDK. 5 game winner Fox.
Damn.
If Paul Belter, I don't think he's gonna go. He don't want to go back to Challenger scene. He doesn't need
Yeah.
to. No, he just never. He's never really been in
Yeah.
it. But still, like he was with Curtis in the Challenger scene.
Alrighty. And then I think next Thursday, it's the Korean finals. Whoever wins between SK and CJ will play GE in the finals. Whoever wins between LGD and Edward Gaming will be the China champions. And after next Thursday, I believe is when that Korean game is. We will have all 4 teams for MSI, so we will probably make our next episode after that. We will talk about the SKT versus CJ Entis game. Whoever wins that versus the GE Tigers game, and all of the predictions we made, and probably talk a little bit about MSI and any other news that happens. Who knows? CLG might have a new coach by then, so yeah, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Sorry for a little bit of technical issues. The internet decided to shit itself halfway through, so yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you on the next episode of the LCS the LCS Fanboy podcast. Fucked up the outro. Great. Talk to you guys later.
GG. Bye.